Good afternoon or morning. I don't know. It's 11. Is that considered morning or afternoon? I'm Erin from Erin Reed Makes, and today we're going to make some fun cards. So I got this idea from this card while I was at Creativation. This was at a Simon Says Stamp slash one of the scrapbooking magazines did an event for one night, and I thought this was just a really cool card. It was to show off this really fun die, and then you put the clear backing on the back of it, and it had their stamps. I'd have to look it up. I meant to look it up really fast. I don't know if I can do that while we're chatting at the same time, but it was a card where I just could showcase and then I got these amazing stamps from Ann Butler. And these stamps are cool, let me tell you. They are so much fun. And so what they are is they're a build a background stamp. And I thought, well, how kind of a fun idea. And I started playing around with different concepts. So that's basically where this came from. I took the idea of this card. So I think where I'm kind of going with this is don't be afraid to take an idea from a card that you see and go, I love it, but I may not have that element. And again, I don't remember what company this is. I meant to look it up. But don't be afraid to take an element that you love and turn it on its head and use supplies you already have or something that's already in your inventory and kind of play around with it. And the parts I loved was this clear, and then you could see through it. So I went my own direction with it. Instead, we're building the background with her stamps, with Ann Butler stamps. These are from Unity Stamp Company. I'm going to show you how to do that. The easiest way is to use your MISTI. I mean, you could do it by hand, but having some sort of stamp positioner is the key thing to making it. And I wasn't even perfect, but you know what? I still think it looks pretty cool. I've changed this so that, no, we're in live chat, we're good. So I thought it was in top chat. Okay, so then also we have the backing, of which we're going to use our graphics Duralar. It's awesome, it cuts beautifully. And then we have these fun little toppers. And these little toppers right here are 3-dimensional toppers, and here's another one. And so where I kind of went with it was like, well, you know what? I have all these cool toppers and I haven't used them. I love them. Here's another one, a little cupcake. I actually had a second one of a bird. Look at that. Or I also have, sorry, my arms are all in the way, just like fun elements like this. But I have a hard time sometimes pairing paper with it. You know how many colors of ink I have? I have like a bajillion colors of ink. I was like, well, with these cool background stamps, I could totally make my own background paper that would work for a card like this. And all I have to do is just match the colors. So I found a green that worked really well with that. This green actually comes from Catherine Pooler. I'm going to use this. This is actually Ann Butler's from Clear Snap, who is no longer in existence. They have just decided to close up shop. I'm very unhappy. I've used them in a couple of different inks. We're actually going to be using the little bronze and the crafters. I may have them. I'm not going to use them anymore. And you can still buy them. Lots of stores still have them. And so I don't know where the other one went that I have. We're going to be using this one for somewhere buried underneath this mess of stuff. So we're going to kind of be pairing these all together. All right. So just to show you, you can take your own inks and pair them with a piece, an element, and put it all together. And so how do I store all my inks? Well, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to my cards. So I have a lot. I have a couple inks that I keep just sitting out at all times. These inks right here, these are my black inks. I have a couple of them. I keep them sitting out all the time. So they're not stored away. Then I have a whole bunch of large inks. I know you guys can't see this super well. Basically, this is just a big box, right? So here's a big box. I have all my distress inks. And this comes from Xyron. It's their large crafting box. You can get them from Amazon. They're awesome. It's got a lid. And so there's actually like a lid on the bottom here that it fits. And so I just have it up inverted right now. So I have all these ones stacked in here. I have a whole bunch of other kind of random inks stuffed in here. I have a re-inker. I have one re-inker for one of my Tim Holtz distress inks. I have a whole bunch of Stays On inks, a whole bunch of ones from Imagine. And then I have a whole bunch of Color Blocks inks. And so the ones that were like the same size, I put them together. So here's another Crafter's ink from Ann Butler. So I have those. So I just kind of went through and I started finding inks that would match with color. And that's how I find them. Some of my little oddballs, I got all these ones right here. These all came from like Michael's and stuff. They were in those dollar bins. A lot of them are probably starting to go. Some of my little square ones, I don't have a ton of little square ones, but I have a few. We're actually going to use one of them today. Some smaller stays-ons. Like here's one of my Catherine Poolers. So they all fit in here, and these are all what I call my colors. So everything, if I need a color, I mean, there might be an odd black because I don't use it as much. There might be like a water or like a Versamark might be in here because I don't use them as much. So I store them in here. They're upright. So that way all the ink pads and the like type of shape of stamp, ink, whatever, ink pad, is what's stacked on top of each other. So this then goes up on top of a shelf. It's got a little label in here that says ink. And when I need it, I pull it down and I use it. And so that's kind of how I went around it. I decided to pull out my inks, make my own backgrounds with her cool stamps, and let's get you going to show you how to build this card. All right, so the first step, get some things out of the way here. We're going to go ahead and do all the cutting first. Now, I went ahead and I cut a bunch of stuff already, and I just got it already kind of pre-done. So this easily could be a mass production card that you could do. Start off the way that you would make these are A2 size cards. Take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, cut it in half, and go ahead and fold it like you would normal card. Now, I geared this particular card to fit for her stamp. And these stamps in terms of width, and there's so many cool designs. That was the other fun part, is I could play around with the designs of the background. And so even though I may use the same color, which I'm going to show you today, I'm going to use 2 different stamps with the same color background and show you how different it actually looks. It's really quite cool. All right, so fold this in half. And the width of those inks, or those stamps, sorry, are 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to cut off an inch because if you look at my stamp, I'm going to stamp this, and I like the little bit of a border, and then we ink the edge. So I'm going to cut off an inch, put that aside because we need to save that. So I have a little pile of those because I have a few other cards I've already prepped. So I have a few of these little 1-inch strips I've pulled off the bottom because we're going to make a few of these cards together because they're actually quite fast. And then for the window part, I'm cutting off 1.25 inches. So a little bigger, but don't throw away this. Keep that. So now this becomes the top of our card. With this 1.25 inch piece that we have, we're going to take it and we're going to make this the part. So this is what goes in the bottom of the card right here. You just want to kind of visualize it. So here's our open window. I need to put a piece right here. Well, I already have a nice small piece that I've cut off. I'm going to make that the piece that I'm going to stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this off. Good morning, Joan. How are you doing? So I'm going to trim this down to 5.25. And as always, when this video is over, I will put the measurements down below for you guys. And then since I said the stamp is 3/4 of an inch, I'm actually going to go this way because it works out better. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down 2 sides. So this just becomes a little bit of waste. So I'm trying to use as much of this as I possibly can. The only other thing that I needed to cut, and I have to get out another sheet of paper for this, and so I just have little scraps that I keep left over from other cards, is I need to cut the piece that is going to go here. Okay, so this top section ends up being 2 inches. I'm sorry if you're hearing my kids whining upstairs. School starts tomorrow. Can you tell I'm a very, very happy mother that school starts tomorrow? Hi, Carol. Good morning, afternoon, whatever, depending on what time zone you are. It is 11:15. We're close enough to lunchtime. I'm going to call it afternoon at this point. All right, so this top section right here on this card, and again, this is just how I'm cutting it. This top section is 2 inches, so I cut this down to be 1 3/4 by 5.25. And that way it mats just perfectly on top of here. So I have a whole bunch of these. And so here, just to show you where we're at. So we got the main part of the card, the top mat. This is the bottom part that finishes the card. And then we have the piece that goes on top. So these little pieces on top here are what we are stamping. And that's what I stuck in my little jar. So I just kind of mass produced a whole bunch. The last thing I did is I went and cut, and you guys probably can barely see this. Oh, so it's morning. You're morning your time, Carol. That's awesome. Is I cut a piece of this Duralar, and I'm just going to show you the packaging real fast. So here is the packaging. It's a Duralar film. This one happens to be a 0.005 clear film, medium weight. It cuts beautifully in my paper trimmer. I'm going to pull out, so you can see it comes like this. There's little pieces of tissue paper that go in between. And it cuts like magic. You can do a ton of stuff. It doesn't have to be just for like window stuff. I've used it for shaker cards, but you can also paint on it. You can do on it. You can do use it like an overhead transparency. There's a lot more than you can do, and just besides using it as like the acetate alternative is the bottom line, but there's a lot more you can do with it, and there's quite a bit that come inside one of these packages, and I've been very, very happy. And I've had that package for about a year, and for one I can get 6 cards by cutting them to be about 2 inches. It's just enough to cover that window. It was just enough to fill in that card there. And if you notice, I actually went a little bit over. I don't know if you guys can see that. There it is. I went a little bit over in that. Okay, so now that I've got all my little pieces in here, I'm going to put my card off the side. We'll prep the other card later. So I have a whole bunch of cards that I've got the pieces kind of ready to go. There we go. Got to make sure I put all my little elements back where they're supposed to go. We're done with our cutter. Put that off to the side there. And now I'm going to get out my stamping platform. Now, this card, I used a very similar, I actually used one of the clear snap inks, but I liked the color. I tested it on another one, but it's going to be the same process. So for this card, I used, and these are so new that Ann sent these to me. They still have the background builders. She hand wrote it in. Didn't even have a label on it yet, but they're in the store. And at last I saw, they were all on sale. The link is down below for you guys to see it. Okay, so I used it from, I think it was set 2, and it was this little guy right here. And that's the one I used to build this background right here. But I decided, you know, let's do something a little different, and look at all the different designs that are in here. So many different backgrounds, and you could mix and match them. The cool thing about these particular stamps is that there's no lip on them. The stamp goes all the way to the edge on every single one, which means you can nest them right up next to each other and build a full background, just like you see on the top here. Obviously, this stamp is not wide enough or long enough, but I can stack them next to each other, and that's the beauty of it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper, line it here, and I'm just going to kind of stick it down so it doesn't pair up. And these are so new, I haven't even taken the backing off of it. This is a really kind of a cool design. I don't know, it's like a funky brick looking thing. I just wanted a nice little background, kind of simplistic. Didn't want it to be, I mean, it's busy, but it's just one color, so it's very, very simple. So I line that up. Pick it up. No static on rubber stamps either, I have noticed. And I'm just going to ink this up real fast. There we go. And then align it down. Now this ink, their stamp, is the same size as the width of paper. Oh, it's little hearts. Ha! That's going to be so cute. It's little lovebirds. Love it. Okay. Move my magnet down. Yes, Unity is so cool. I love my Unity stamps. I don't have that many, but I do have a few. And I love how supportive they are of fellow designers. So, got to support my fellow designers. And Ann is a sweetie. She and I hung out a lot when we were at Creativation this past year. She is so nice. All right. So, and unfortunately, she had a whole line of stamps or inks from Clear Snap, which we're going to use one, but it's no longer in function right now. You know what? Companies have to come and go, but on to bigger and better things, I guess. All right, so now we are going to, got to use this again. We're going to reline this back up. So this is how the stamp works. I can line it up. I'll go ahead and mount this down right here. So I've done the bottom part. And yeah, you're going to have like maybe a little oopsie, but guess what? Guess where I place that part that's the crossover? I'll place it like this. So it'll kind of cover it up a little bit. So there's ways to kind of fake it if you want to. It depends on how good you are at stamping. I'm not trying to be super perfect when I do this. Sometimes having those little extra things just make it look that much cooler. So, oops, see, look, I messed up and I missed a couple of, so right there and right there. So I didn't put ink there, I guess. I'm still missing it. Okay, just gonna re-ink the whole thing. Stamp positioners to the rescue. There we go. I don't know why it was doing that. All right, so I think I've got my hearts. You know, even if I end up lining my hearts up the wrong way, it'll look pretty cool. But as long as I just move the stamp and I don't flip it around, we should be good. There we go. Yeah, I can see the hearts are going the right way. This particular ink came from Simon Says Stamp, and it doesn't have a very good, it's a hybrid ink. It doesn't have a very good second generation, which is kind of cool when you're lining them up. Therefore, you don't have to worry about if you lay your stamp down to do a second stamp like I'm doing, it's not going to leave a big giant smudge mark. So look, see, I'm already building my background there. It's very cool. Very, very cool. And then align the next one up. So I am back to doing some live videos. Yay. I will be live this week and next week. Next week, we actually have a sponsored video by a company called, it just left my head. Oh my goodness, now I feel like a dork. Hey, I gotta find it because I feel like a dork for not remembering the name. Oh my goodness. How did I do that? Oh, I feel like a moron. Hang on, I'm totally like stepping aside here to find my, there it is. No, wrong one. Front stamp, front stamp, front stamp, front stamp. Oh my goodness, how can I not find the stamp? This is my unpreparedness. I am so sorry. I thought I had the name in my head and then it's gone poofy on me. Oh shoot, where is it? So it would be right here. And I'm totally wasting your time. Okay, well, I must have put the stamps somewhere special because I don't seem to have them at my fingertips. I probably put them aside somewhere specific. I don't know. I just got back like 4 or 5 days ago. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to totally waste your time as I stepped away. Anyway, we were having a very fun video coming next week. It is all part of, it's not Paper Smooches, Paper Sweeties. Ah, there we go. I knew it. It was like paper something. Paper Sweeties, super cute stamps. It is their 7-year. Oops, do I have that lined up just right? Yes, I do. It is their 7-year anniversary, and they have asked me to come on and be a little guest, and so we're going to show you guys how to use them. I have used their stamps in the past, since this is kind of a return and a different stamp set that we're going to be using this time. But today is all about Ann Butler, and then I'm using a little bit of another stamp company. This is called Idaho Stamps, brand new stamp company, super cute, out of the States. And because I needed a sentiment on the inside, and I would have totally used a Unity stamp, but I didn't have any sentiments from Unity. All I have is these background ones. So there we go. So look at that. See how cute that is. I made our own background. Love it. All right. So we're going to do a couple more together, but I want to show you how to build one completely first. All right. So now you've got your background card, and I'm an inker. You guys know that. I had 2 stamps that dropped on the ground that I need. I just saw them as I guess I was pushing some papers over on the side and they dropped on the floor. Oops. All right, so I'm just inking the edges just to clean it off. I didn't get as close to the edge on this stamp. Maybe I didn't cut this quite the right size, or I just misaligned it. And so it's just kind of filling in those gaps that I may have missed. But look how adorable those are. I love that. And like I said, you can mix and match them. There's a whole bunch. If you go to the Unity Facebook page, there's a couple of live videos they've done with these brand new stamps that Ann has, and they are really, really cute. So different than what I've got. Mine are a little bit different than what we're all showing how one stamp, and that's the cool thing, how one stamp can have a lot of different uses. All right, I am totally misaligning that. So there we go. And then I'm going to take this bottom piece and line it up here, right here. There we go. Sorry, all I can hear is my kids complaining upstairs, and all I want to do is be like, stop yelling, stop whining. I don't know if you guys can hear any of what's happening upstairs, but it's like all I hear is my son, my 2 younger ones, just complaining about something, and my daughter going, eh. And I can tell when I'm at my limit of being a mommy when I hear her go, eh. It's much louder than that. It just drives me crazy. I'm about ready to lose it on her. Which I know she needs to go back to school. I mean, that's the bottom line. Mom is done. Mom needs her break time. Okay, so how do you line this up so that this fits here and this fits here? I digress. I'm so sorry. All right. You can't hear a thing. Well, that's awesome because that's all I hear. They're upstairs in my bedroom and they're complaining about something. I don't know. Okay. to get this lined up just right, I found a trick. Take your card, flip it, and reverse the direction. All right. Go ahead and take your Xyron. I love my Xyrons. It's so handy and easy. Line it up right there. I went a little bit too far in adding my adhesive, but you know what? There is a fun little tool. I'm gonna grab real quick. Ow! That was my ankle. So I just added a little bit too much adhesive. And so if I try and open my card, I just want to remove that adhesive. And this is called the adhesive eraser. Literally, it takes adhesive off. I've used my finger, but I have found that this really does a much better job of getting off any of that adhesive that I accidentally stuck somewhere that I didn't want it to be. You need to do it pretty quickly. Well, I find I like to do it pretty quickly. Basically, it just takes the sticky and pulls it up and it sticks to the eraser. And if this gets too gummy, you can just kind of pull this off. It will eventually kind of whittle down and become a little bit of nothing, but it lasts a long time. I've had this one for 5 years and you can tell it's being used. And it's just this little eraser looking thing. It's awesome. I didn't put that into the supplies, but I will make sure I do that down below. As a heads up, if you guys have ever seen anybody that's got links to supplies, more often than not, they're probably affiliate links. And so if you're not really sure what an affiliate link is, it's a link. So just to do this real fast and I'll continue about the affiliate links. You want to make sure that this part goes down. Now, my key thing is I've got hearts. So I want to make sure that the hearts align up the correct direction. The other one, it didn't matter because it was just dots, or the pattern, it didn't matter. This one, I do want to make sure that the pattern is lighting up a little bit. So I'm just going to flip it so I can see what's going on. Do that, lift up. And then now that I know my hearts are going the right direction, you lay this right here, open it up, and then add my adhesive just right along the edge here. Just like that. And then plop this down. So the affiliate links, while I'm using my eraser to remove that little bit of extra, because I went up too high. So you could make this piece as much as you want, this little Duralard film thing. How we end up making a little bit of money, because basically we're doing all these videos for nothing. I mean, and so how I end up getting paid is by you watching. You know, I've got ads that run on my video. So whenever you see ads, don't complain because that's how those people are making a little bit of money. It's not much. It's a few pennies every time anybody watches, but there you go. The other one is on affiliate links. And so if you click on a link, sometimes just the click will earn me money just by clicking on it. You don't even have to buy anything. You just click on it. Sometimes you do have to purchase something. It depends on the company and where you live and all that stuff. So, oh, you have a supply of these? That's awesome. So I'm just, removing all the excess. I think I got it all. There we go. It feels good to my hand. There might be, you know what, there's a little bit stuck under the plasticky part, but my finger is just kind of rubbing that off. There we go. And there it is. There's a little bit of something on the inside there. I think a little, there we go. And there, that's how you create that little piece right there. So then all you need to do is you take your elements. So I just want to show you, I'm not saying that you have to use these. Of course, you know, I've got, where'd they go? Oh, here it is. So what could you place in this section right here? Well, there's lots of different options. So you guys all have these little die cut pieces. You could totally just imagine it's a different color. You could take a totally different die cut and layer it right there. You could take a large stamp and color it in and put it right there. I have all these really, really fun little layered, they're called card toppers. And I got them from European Paper Crafts. And they're actually elements that come from Europe, but I just love them. And so this is just to show you how you can take, and I've done the same color, but two different stamps. Looks a tiny bit different. Sorry, I did use a little bit of different color, but you get the idea. Same topper, we're going to use the same stamp, but look how different by using a different background. It almost changes the card a little bit, not drastically, but there's so many different designs in these stamps here that you can get a wide variety of different designs, and it kind of changes your card, even though everything else might be exactly the same. So it's just kind of fun. So you can put just about anything you want here. You can take, you know, all those what I call project life pieces. They're those elements that you would cut out, and they're like the big squares or the rectangles or something, and sometimes they're long. That could be something that you put there, so that kind of fills in this space. You know, all of those little fun little pieces that you could die cut. Totally could do a stamp and color it in. I mean, the idea of what you place here is endless. And then your sentiment, instead of being on the front of the card, is actually on the inside. So when you open it up, it's there as well. So it's kind of a fun little hidden something. It's not a fun fold card, but it is an interactive card in a lot of ways. All right, so now I got to rearrange my little birdies and stick them on here. You could, on this card, I popped up my birdies all the way. This one, I'm going to leave my birds flat, and just the elements that are popped up here are what's going to be there. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply my adhesive. Oh, and I just saw that there's a little section here that did not get popped out. Let's pop that out right there. So I will be back doing lives this week. I've got to make sure I rearrange this so that the birds make sense. So I'll be live this week and next week. But unfortunately, I have to take another little hiatus for a while, and I'm not exactly sure how long that's going to be. I have a surgery coming up. I have to get part of my thyroid taken out. And one of the things I've been told is that you kind of lose your voice for a while after that, potentially. I don't know. Or you may have a voice, but it's a whisper. And the more I don't use it and the more I let everything rest, the faster I will heal. Oh, shoot. I did that backwards while I was talking about that. So this week and next week we'll be live, and then I will be back as soon as I can. There will still be content. There'll be recorded videos, but I can't guarantee you that I will be live just due to surgical stuff. But I have a huge support system. My parents are coming in. My husband's here. The kids will hopefully be not screaming at each other. I waited to do it when the kids got back in school, so I didn't have to worry about them being petunias. All right. So what I have here is a series of sentiment stamps from Ida Rose, and I'm just kind of lining this up and make sure that it's in the right, so it's a little bit too low. So I'm going to pop this up. There it is. And then just make sure it's where it is. There we go. Whoops. It likes to stick to the film because it's got that almost clear backing like you would have. So I'm just going to double check this again. So if you wanted to, if you're going to mass produce, I would not put the topper on there. And if you were going to do a whole bunch of cards, because this window is set up to be exactly the same spot, you could do this stamp repeatedly over and over and not be a problem. All right, so pop these in here. Make sure, I just have to always triple 1000 check. There we go. And then for this, because I've already done so much color on the front, I'm just doing my sentiment in black. See, look how sticky those ones are. As soon as you get to an acrylic stamp, they become sticky. I don't know what about the acrylic stamps make them sticky. Every single, it doesn't matter what company I am, they're all that way. They all just have this little stickiness. And there it is. So, whoops, that's how everything sticks there. And so just look how different that is. Look how fun. Look how cool that is. Very cool. And again, same little topper. All right, so let's do a different version. Show you a different color. Same concept. Going to remove, actually, you know what? We're going to keep, no, I'm going to remove that. I don't know what sentiment I'm going to use. So we're just going to change it up. But, ow. Okay. Strong magnets hurt your fingers. Don't do that to yourself. It hurts. Okay, we're going to use Ann's ink here, and you can still find their inks. They're still all over the place. And I picked it out because it goes really well. At least I thought it would go really kind of cute with this. I can't quite figure out what she is. We're going to build her first. Oh, thank you so much, Debbie. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I hope I have a speedy recovery too. So I can't quite figure out what she is. Is she some sort of, I don't know. I can't quite pinpoint that. Garden fairy? It's very unusual. And there we go. She's some sort of, I don't know. Best guess on what she is. Something summerish. I mean, it's berries. I don't know, but they're cute. It's what they are. All right, so if you guys have never tried this, I've done a video on this before. What I have right here is basically, this is fun foam, like what you would get if you just cut it off. So I want to pop all this up. So I run it through. You can make it as small or as big as you want. You can take big strips, small strips. Saves me. I can get giant sheets of that foam stuff from Michael's. I want to say they're like 40 cents a sheet, and they're massive. They're huge. So I can get a whole bunch of it. Static cling here everywhere. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Is that who you think it is? How cool. How does your garden grow? Oh, yeah, that could work. Yeah. I wouldn't have. That's kind of a cute thing. I didn't think she was a fairy, though. I don't know. I always pictured her as just being a little girl. Whoops. Oh, flying little pieces on the ground. Go figure. Okay. So we're going to pop her up. So this is how these little 3D topper things work. Basically, you have one element, and then they just start stacking, and it creates this 3D element. And they get smaller and smaller as they go up. So you have to keep on adding little pieces on top over. And it's just a fun little something. I think they're so cute. It's a little bit of some busy work, but it's still kind of crafty. You're still kind of layering and having fun. My daughter really gets into these. She thinks that they are just the greatest thing on earth. And so she has fun building all different fun ones. I also built another one. Oh yeah, the cupcake. We'll do the cupcake together too. But they're easy, they're fun. They really make cards kind of go pop if you think about it. Oh, here's another piece I cut out, didn't use. I don't think I need that yet. Don't forget to pull the backing off. There we go. So I hope you guys had a beautiful summer. We had a blast. So we just got back from being in Canada for a month. Well, 3 weeks. It's not quite a month. And it was gorgeous. I got to wear a hoodie. And then I come home and I get in my car and it says 110 for we went out to go get a book from Half Price Books. My son has to do summer reading and he left it on the airplane. He got more than halfway reading the book and he left it on the stinking airplane. Go figure. Oh, little stinker. So we had to go and replace the book. So we went to Half Price Books. Sorry, I dropped my stamp. So I had pulled these 2 stamps and I was trying to decide. Oh, I would do this one for this because it kind of, the little dots reminded me of what's on the berries. And so while we're driving to Half Price Books, I'm realizing how freakishly hot it is. You know, we have to get to the point of just being, you have to go in the car to cool down the car because it's so blazingly hot. Oh, it's awful. Oh, I forgot to put down. Oh, look at the like it's so not staticky. I don't even have to worry about having a magnet on there. All right, so I know she really doesn't have the inks aren't being produced anymore. So what's left is what's left. But if you ever come across these crafters inks, they're really quite cool. You can use them on just about anything. So you don't just have to use them on paper. It's not just for stamping like this. You can use them on wood. Look how pretty that is. And I love that color. So gorgeous. You can use them on wood. You can use them on, well, it says on here. So it says you can use it for fabric, wood, more, all kinds of cool stuff. This one's Sunshine. But because the company is just recently, ClearSnap has just recently decided to close its doors, you can still get a lot of the supplies available. So it's like they're completely gone. All right, so there that is. Put that off to the side real fast, just right there. And then I need the larger piece. So if, you know, you could find ClearSnap. They were all over the place. You could get them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby had them. Amazon has them. Scrapbook.com has them. I mean, a lot of places had them. They have all different kinds of inks. And there were a lot of different designers that had their inks with them, had their name on them. So they're, unfortunately, goes a source of a little bit of an income. Every time one of those inks sold, they made a little bit of income. I don't know what's going to happen now. I don't know if they still get any of the money from that or not. I hope so, but you never know. All right, so keep lining them up. Sorry, my little rant there. The behind the scenes of the crafty world. The cool thing I do love about these is, remember I was showing you with the other stamp how you don't really get a generation stamp? For these ones, because they're so juicy, look how good of a second generation. So it almost creates another background. If you didn't want to do and re-ink every layer, you could get that shadowy second generation stamp. I just think it's pretty. For this particular card though, I want to do the full stamp all the way. There we go. Keeps coming undone on me. And then we just got to finish that. Look, it looks like a total background. It's just so pretty. Loving it. So did anybody go anywhere this summer? Anybody go anywhere fun? Do anything cool? It could also be that you just went somewhere cool in the city or the town that you lived in and you did something fun. I'm always curious. Just curious what people do in the summers, where they spend their time, what they do. I don't know, being nosy. I don't go away too often. I do go home to my parents every summer. That is one thing. But this summer, it felt like we went a lot of places. We made a trip to Houston and we went to NASA. The kids got to NASA. And of course, it's the big 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11, so the moon landing. And so, of course, NASA had a whole bunch of stuff that was going on about that. And the kids thought that was great. We went at the beginning of the summer. It was hot, but it wasn't unbearable like it is now. And the worst part that they had the hardest time with was being in line. And so I'm standing there going, guys, you're having the hardest time. Oh, you went to the Greenville Village, the Henry Ford Museum. Oh, for like the cars, for like the Ford cars. That's what my guess is, right? There we go. So yeah, the kids had the hardest time standing in line. I'm going, how am I ever going to take you to a place like Disney World or Disneyland if you can't even function to be in a line for just a short period of time at NASA? Come on, guys. It was pretty bad. They were whining, they were complaining. Oh my gosh, it was just like, oh, it was awful. Now, the one thing, and I'm just going to do a really quick something, and why I'm being very careful about touching these, is that, that really does kind of get really bright on there. It's not as bright in person. I think it's just my lights there. Now you can see it's a bit more true to color, but it's really pretty. There's all these kinds of old exhibits. They're from the old, oh cool. I'd love to see all the different cars it goes on. It's just kind of a neat trick. All right, so the Crafter's ink, because it's meant on a lot of different surfaces, it's a little juicier and it can kind of rub off. So there's a couple of different things. If you've got one of those powder tap things, which I have one somewhere, I just don't feel like hunting it down because apparently I can't find anything today, even though I know where it should be. So I'm just taking a little sheet of paper and just going on the back side of this and just picking up, so there's just little bits of ink, and just kind of picking up any residual ink that might be on there to the point where I can kind of wipe it and it's pretty good. So I'm just taking off some of the excess ink that happens to be on there. It's not a ton, but enough that it might smear. There are 2 parakeets in the card and the header for your site. Oh, so these ones, these little guys right here, these little guys are coming from European paper crafters. They're called the card toppers. You get a whole bunch of these little card toppers. So like this, these are all, there would be in a package, and this is just one out of a package. If you wait till I'm done, I would be able to look it up, but it's on the European, that link is down below, and I think it's called just card toppers. If you look at the video, I'm kind of pulling it up real fast. I can see how I listed it. But I think it just says 3D card toppers. That's the link for that particular one. Okay, so now we got to build our card again. Got to find the base. So here we go. So here we have the base to our card. This line's up here. I feel like I've got a pretty good way to the edge line. I'm not going to worry about inking. Plus this ink, it might smear too much and mess up. So I'm just going to leave it. And just to give it a little bit more of something to kind of make sure that the ink doesn't smear and I don't get my table. It's just the kind of ink it is because it's meant to go on a lot of different surfaces. But it's still a gorgeous ink. I love this ink. I've used it on wood, and oh my gosh, I keep misaligning this. I'm not thinking it's as big as it really should be. There we go. Yes, I will rip off parts of my card because it doesn't fit the way I want it to. A little frustrated. So here we go. Line that up there. And then we have the little Duralar piece that goes onto there. So again, flip your card, reverse it, get that fold going the other way, and go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive right here. And you know what? If some of the ink does transfer, it's the back of the card. I'm not worried about it. You know, it just shows people that, hey, it's a handmade card. If there's a couple of oopsies that are on there, that's the way I look at it. It's where my stamp will go. I need to order a stamp. This card, I'm not as concerned because there's no right or wrong way to the pattern. So I'm not worried about making sure that it lines up to the correct way. But what I mean by I need to order a stamp, I need to order a stamp that's got my name on it. Like an Erin Reed makes on the back of my cards. I keep handwriting them. You figure I would have one by now, but I don't. Need to get one. You guys know anybody who makes them? Oh, I should have gone further down. I should have. I made this 2 inches. I really should have gone 2.5. And then I would have had no problem of having the excess there. So where is my little eraser thing? There it is. And then just pull off. Oops, I shifted that. There we go. So if you guys know of anybody or know of something, I know there's a bunch of them out there, and they'll just make like a custom stamp. And then I can go on the back and just put my logo on the back. That would be awesome. Happy to have some recommendations for that. And if it's a mom and pop company, even better. I love those companies. Happy to support them. Oh, I turned off. I was going through to look for something on my screen and I turned off my chat. No, I went to a different screen. Oops. Can't see what you guys are saying. Stamps of life make. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. I'll have to look that up. All right. So there that is. And then I have my little Mary, Mary, Quite Quincherry. Oh, this looks offlined. It does look like it's off somehow. Because this does not line up. And I don't know. It just looks like it's not quite lined up the way it should be. And yes, I ripped my cards apart quite a bit. And I will have to realign that and restick it. But it just looks like it wasn't lining up the way I wanted it to. Let's see if it will still have enough sticky. I'm good. It's still on there. Okay, that lines up a whole lot better. All right, now add a little bit of adhesive to the back of her. And then line. Oh, haha, I'm remembering. I got to put my sentiment on there first. Okay, so get this guy out of here. This will be our last card together. The kids are finally starting to be quiet. I don't want to wait on this one. So she goes right about there, which means I have this little window to work with, just like I had with the other cards. So I don't want to make my card all funky what's on the back. So I'm just going to pull that out, lay that here. And for this one, oh, let's do It's a Happy Day. Change it up. I love these sentiments that are just big enough. They're just the right size. Did I use that one yet? No, I haven't used that one on this card yet. Any of these cards. So gotta go up a little bit. I always think it's much further down than it really is. There we go. Go this way a tiny bit. I'm just lining her up right here just to make sure, because I don't want it to look like it's too far. I want it to be nice and even. There. That works. Oh, it's sticking again. All right. Now I've moved it. Sugar. It's okay. All right. Magnet issues again. I'm going to go ahead and go with it and say we are good. And stamp it up. I have a very bad habit of not covering my inks, and then I put something on top of it and then it's all gross. I'm going to pull that stamp out before I forget and place her right there. I think she still has enough adhesive on, but I think I'm going to add a little bit more because she's been going. I'm sure it's not dry, but I've touched stuff with it. I didn't want to not have enough stick. So It's a Happy Day. And there she goes. Bright cheery card. So look, same concept, just to show you all the differences. We made one with the cute birds. Here's another. I went with a lot of birds. I didn't realize that. I will make the cupcake later on, but you guys get the idea. I mean, if you totally wanted to replace the cupcake, I originally had the idea of doing the bronze. So I'll probably go back and finish that, but you get the idea. They're really fun. Lots of different kinds of concepts. You can change the background color, whatever stamp. I think I'm going to use this corrugated one with my cupcake, which I'm not quite sure where the cupcake went. I'm just going to tell you my thought process. Cupcake is vanished. It fell on the floor. Possible things fall on the floor around here. I was just trying to tell you why I picked that particular stamp to be on the cupcake and why I picked the bronze. But you have to have the cupcake to see. Where are you? Oh. Seriously, the cupcake. I'm looking for it everywhere, and I had placed it there. It's like, where's my glasses? And they're on top of your head. The signs of old age are coming up on me. Old, oh my gosh. I'm a dork. Okay. My thought process for why I'm picking this particular one is I was trying to find, I didn't like the purple because it was just going to be too much purple. So I was kind of picking, and I didn't like the idea of brown because it just looked like it was going to be mud on the card or something grosser. So I decided to go with bronze. And so I was kind of color swatching. And I thought, so I'll take little pieces of paper, like this kind of thing. And so I just kind of color swatched it. I was like, oh, that looks really pretty. And that would look really pretty as a background with this card. I just thought that would really look gorgeous. Yeah, see, it happens to us all, right? And then I decided to pick this particular stamp because I thought it kind of mimicked what was on the cupcake liner. So it kind of went along. So that was my thought process about why I picked those ones. I like the little dots, which is why I went. I thought it would kind of mimic the dots of the bird. This one, I just like the large dots. I thought that would look really pretty, and I thought it would be a nice contrast to the two birds that are in front. The design for the stamp on this one, I picked the yellow because of the yellow in her pants. It would make everything else really pop versus kind of hiding in there. And I didn't have a good red, and I thought the red would just hide too much. And then the background is because I thought it would kind of go a little bit similar like the berries. And then this one, it was just because it was a really pretty, it was my practice, and I didn't know what the design was. So I thought I'd just try it out and see what happened. And it worked. It worked quite well. And I picked the peach because that kind of peachy undertone that was in the bird, but it wasn't the main color. I also could have done a blue. That would look really pretty. I possibly could have picked a blue. So that was kind of where my color choices went and how I picked the stamp to go with that particular image. Just kind of pulling different things. So I hope you guys had fun and you guys try something. And if you want to support Ann, go check out her stamps. They are so cute and so fun. And thanks so much. The sentiment stamps came from Ida Rose, brand new little stamp company. And I just use a variety of inks. Like I said, I use a Catherine Pooler ink for this one. This one we use a Simon Says stamp. So I was also showing you how all different kinds of stamps work with the different inks. This one was the Crafters inks from Color Blocks. This one was also a Color Blocks ink. And then the background stamps are just all in black, which came from, this is from scrapbook.com. So I'll be back next week with some more fun cards. Lots of other videos going out throughout the week. If you were interested in a giveaway, there is also a giveaway going on. It is for a craft box full of stuff that is in there. It totally could be done with adults using it. I've had a blast building stuff out of this kit too. And so just leave a comment. It's just look for Orange Art Box. It's the August Orange Art Box video. So if you want to leave a comment there, and it's a chance to win a free box mailed to you for free. So yay. All right. Thank you guys, everybody, for being here, and I hope you guys enjoyed my fun cards based on the inspiration I got from the original card, which I got when I went to Creativation 2019. And I just kind of took that concept of the clear window and then went my own way. Yeah. Hope you guys have a great day. I got to take the kids to the pool, help them burn some energy, and get them out. Even though it's hot, we'll be in the water. It'll be nice and cool. Last day for fun because they start school tomorrow. I'm not sure. I think mom's a lot more happy about school than the kids are, but that's okay. All right. Bye, everybody.